All right, Greg. Well, let's start where we were talking before we started recording this thing, which is in the middle 20 minutes of this game. It felt like the Bucs were going to let the Eagles off the hook, and then all of a sudden they put the pedal back to the metal and they pull away at the end. What led to the second half surge that allowed this to not be a stressful ending or maybe even a heartbreaking collapse?
Yeah, they definitely had that second act where for a while they were only getting field goals, and then they stopped even getting field goals, and it kept like third down, bad sack by Mayfield to get out of field goal range. It's 2 plays in a span of 3 plays that did it. Anthony Nelson gets some pressure. Jalen Hurts, this game was all about quarterbacks keeping the ball way too long. Jalen Hurts takes a grounding penalty in the end zone for a safety, and then 2 plays later, James Bradbury whiffs on Trey Palmer, and it's a 50-yard touchdown, and all of a sudden it's 25-9. And the Bucs have a cushion they really didn't have at all for about a half. And really, once they got to that, up 16, they kind of had it easy the rest of the way. Eagles never really showed much threat beyond that.
I'm glad you mentioned quarterbacks hanging on to the ball too long. I'm not a coach. I'm not going to pretend to be a guru of X's and O's, but if you know NFL football, you know that Todd Bowles, Tampa Bay head coach, loves to bring pressure. But it didn't feel like the Philadelphia Eagles realized that. What was the key to how Tampa was able to get to Jalen Hurts and just completely fluster this Eagles offense?
Yeah, I thought they mixed up a lot of different looks. They opened the game with 3 DBs and 4 down linemen. They moved Zion McCollum, who's really usually an outside corner, into safety just to have one more good coverage guy in the middle of the field. Shifted from having Devin White as their main second linebacker to KJ Britt, who's really good against the run, solid tackler. A lot of things like that. I was amazed how little they ran Hurts. I mean, Hurts' first carry was in the third quarter for 5 yards. I thought they did a really good job of containing him, making him kind of a pocket passer. Aside from, Devontae Smith having, I think, 148 yards, their offense didn't have much the whole time. The first game, you go back to week 3, Eagles run the ball 40 times for 201 yards. And today it's 15 carries for 42 yards. That's a season low when they needed their run game the most.
Yeah, I'll claim a mea culpa right here, because I really thought the Eagles' key here would be ground and pound and get the hell out of here. And they probably didn't run the ball as many times as they could have or maybe should have, but it wasn't there either. And Greg, you had the distinction of witnessing somebody stuff the brotherly shove. I mean, we can talk about Vita Vea or wherever you want to go, but what was it about the Bucs front that just took that element of this away?
Yeah, it was really neat. And it's just a 2-point conversion. There's that weird sequence where they took an extra point off the board to go for it. And it makes sense. Go for 2 from the 1-yard line. Yeah, Vita Vea is just a massive body in the middle of that. Poor Greg Gaines is not as big a guy, and he was on his back upside down with at least like 10 players on top of him at the goal line. It was funny. The first game when they played the Eagles, they stopped the tush push on a 3rd and 1. And the Eagles just were like, okay, we'll do it on 4th and 1. And they converted. So it was kind of like, well, you had the consolation of one time you stopped it, but they got it the next down. So it didn't really count. But here, it felt like it made a difference. Instead, I forget what the score was. It was like 16-9 instead of 16-11, I guess, or something like that. But yeah, I think emotionally for that defensive line, that was kind of a chance for them to say, we can beat them at their best. We can take, what they take the most pride in and stop them when it means the most.
Nick Sirianni took 4 points off the board in this game and didn't get any of them back, by the way. Like, both decisions turned out to be wrong. And not that the Eagles care, but me as a true sicko can't help but notice that the over missed by, I think, 2 points or maybe 3, but right. Guessing a lot of bettors are extra unhappy with Nick Sirianni this morning.
Yeah, and that's twice. I mean, you do it one time, take points off the board. It's interesting. And I wondered, I kind of jokingly said they're going to take 3 points off the board this time. And again, 4th and 5, it down 16, it didn't make a ton of sense to go for a field goal in the first place. So it's kind of like the penalty gave him a chance to rethink. I'm still down 2 touchdowns. It's not a big help. You don't have to worry about sweating 2-point conversions, but that's about the only plus to it. So Yeah, I was surprised by that. Both times it came back, there was a point where it would have been an 11-point game, where like a touchdown and a field goal and a conversion, and they're in it. And instead, it's a totally different game.